very difficult to spot, but...
Oh no, he is extremely angry. Is this lost now?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's lost, and Magnus just...
And we'll perhaps see you in Armageddon.
Yeah. Wow, Magnus Carlsen starts the Blitz. He makes Wesley so smile. He's played the orangutan opening again. Third time in this tournament. Magnus, he's an animal. He's channeling his inner orangutan.
Remind me, what did those games end up with? Because that was against Nakamura, right?
Yeah, first time against Giri, he was better, and it was a draw. Second game against Nakamura, he was worse, but it was also a draw.
Okay.
So Magnus, often this move is for surprise value, but it's unlikely to come as a surprise. It's the third time he's played it this tournament. Wesley immediately reacting, pushing the pawn in the center. White's bishop coming out to his longest diagonal. Wesley, when surprised, tends to just revert to simple, solid play. Just going to develop White pushing a pawn there.
But this must be something that Wesley would have considered and come up with an idea against.
Yeah, but the thing is, the orangutan, yes, it's not recommended. White doesn't occupy the center with pawns. You don't have so much central control, but you're not necessarily kind of facing a disadvantage here because you are still very flexible. You are just reacting to Black's moves as well. Black's bishop now attacking the White queen. That is blocked by White's bishop. So, yeah, even if Wesley so is prepared, it's just going to be a position, just a random position. Neither player will have researched it beforehand, and it's going to be completely fresh to them. It's just down to ideas and creativity now.
Yeah, and I have to say that the position is shaping up quite nicely. I expect Wesley just to push his pawn in front of the king one square just to release the dark squared bishop. I have to say this, I have a really bad track record against this particular opening with the orangutan. One of the worst positions I've ever had and escaped from was when I
Magnus has been studying your games.
No, definitely not. I mean, literally, I had to give my opponent a protected pass pawn on the 6th row. Yeah, but unbelievably, I managed to escape and win. So that was lucky stuff.
So right now, Black is attacking the orangutan pawn. That White pawn that moved on its first go on that B line is now under threat from Black's bishop. So that's often why this opening is not recommended, because as soon as Black pushes his king's pawn, the Black bishop's already immediately going to gain time attacking White's pawn over there, and that's why Magnus had to lose time. It's not a move he wanted to play, he had to lose time just defending it with a corner pawn. So White often having to take out that time. That's why you kind of throw away your first move advantage with White. You don't occupy the center, now you're kind of playing on the flanks rather than playing in the middle of the board, which you ideally want to do. So Wesley, with a solid setup, look at Black's pawns in the middle of the board, making this triangle all on light squares because he has a dark squared bishop.
Yeah,
very solid.
I'm actually a bit surprised by this move. It's too solid in my opinion. I mean, I expected Wesley to develop the dark squared bishop just to keep it flexible. But okay, Magnus responding so quickly, challenging the head of Black's pawn chain in the center. And finally, I get my wish. Dark squared bishop is out and developed. And what's quite interesting actually is that bishop has been placed there in such a way to support the central pawn push. So
Wesley won't push a pawn in the center, I feel.
You think?
Not yet, at least. I think Magnus should castle, just get the king to safety before deciding on any action. I think Wesley just wants to be as solid as possible in this early stage. Okay, Magnus just pushing a pawn there. This is also solid. Okay, now Wesley, he's starting to undermine White's structure on that left side. White's pawn structure is nice, everything protecting each other. But suddenly, there's pressure. Suddenly, White's going to have to make a big commitment, a big decision on what to do. Black corner pawn attacking White's pawns, which is also attacked by Black's bishop. Yeah, Wesley now switching play to the flanks, and Magnus stepping forward, kicking away the Black bishop, blocking it in maybe. But that loses White's pressure on the center. Now Black is the one who will be able to step forward, as you maybe mentioned, Ivanka. And White has lost a lot of control now.
Right, that is the most thematic thing actually. When you push your pawns on the left that far advanced, Black has to react in the center, and the game is shaping up nicely, a big strategical battle. And I fully expect that Wesley will now start making preparation. Well, Magnus is Magnus's go, so Magnus is going to be all about pushing pawns on the left side of the board.
Magnus might push a pawn in the center here.
You think?
It's very tempting for White to do that. Maybe he'll just develop the knight first.
Well, one of the things with that pushing the pawn is that you block in your own bishop.
The other pawn, Ivanka. Push pawn. Push the
push the light square pawn. Okay.
Okay, Magnus first gets all of his pieces connected. Yeah, my idea, maybe keep it reserved for later. First, Magnus connects his rooks, develops his knight, very solid stuff. Just looking at the clock times as well, while we adapt to this new time format. Magnus maybe slightly slower out of the blocks. Wesley's got a good rhythm going. Okay, he undermines the head of white's pawn chain. That feels maybe slightly inconsistent. I did feel that black was going to start playing in the centre, as Fabiano mentioned. But suddenly, it feels like white has more space on that side. Why open up the side that your opponent is stronger? Slightly surprising for Wesley so to see that pawn push. We see Magnus trade a set of pawns there. Will he support his pawn with another pawn? Lots of choice now from Magnus Carlsen. Wesley, so however, I'm surprised by that last move, but it is asking questions, and that's why Magnus is going a bit low on the clock, a bit lower on the clock than his opponent. See that trade of pawns now, white's rook, maybe he's going to bring himself up along the C line to eye up one of black's pawns.
Definitely, and what Wesley will do is he will not want to live with a backward pawn, because backward pawns are weak because they just can't advance. So if you challenge it with a rook, then I expect that pawn just to step forward.
So black's pawn on the C line will want to step forward sooner or later. Yes, agreed. I think that maybe Magnus is going to try and stop that, but I'm just slightly worried for the world champion. His clock time, it feels like he has not adjusted to Blitz as quickly as his opponent. He does bring his rook across to eye up black's pawn there. That was the most natural move, but he could have been played immediately. If it was the world champion, if he was playing me in a casual Blitz game with no cameras on, he would have played that immediately, so it feels like he's not trusting his instincts yet.
And Wesley initiating a series of exchanges with pawns, and I'm expecting now that he doesn't push the pawn forward, but maybe we see okay, this is the move I was thinking about, just counter-attacking the weakened pawn that's by itself. And wow, if we see a mass elimination on the left side of the board, what are the chances for white?
Everything could get traded on that side of the board, so black's queen was eyeing up a pawn on the left flank. White just giving up control of the open A line in the corner there, bringing the white rook across, indirectly defending that pawn, and now we see a trade, bishop for knight. That's very clever by Magnus Carlsen. Strategically, he's just going to get rid of his bishop because he wants to push his central pawn. White wants to push a pawn in the middle, but that would have blocked his bishop in, so why not trade it off before committing in the centre? He decides that actually in this type of position, if it does get a bit blocked up, then knights are better than bishops. And also in Blitz chess, when clocks are ticking down, knights are better than bishops. They're trickier pieces, they're harder to keep contained. So Magnus maybe going to use his knights later to draw some tricks.
Well, Wesley capturing the bishop with a knight. I expected the queen to capture, but okay, Magnus doing what you suggested, which is simply to clamp down on black's backward pawn, and Wesley with the tricks. Now, it looks like it's not possible to retreat the bishop because rook takes pawn can be played, but two rooks will eye each other up, and all black needs to do is just remove the dark square, the bishop with a check, and white will lose the rook. So don't touch that pawn. Interesting.
You could say the pawn on the C line we're talking about, so white cannot use his rook right now, can't capture that pawn. That would be too brazen, too brave. So what will Magnus do instead? Maybe he can relocate his knight somehow, maybe he'll step forward with the white queen not really on an active square right now.
Or maybe step forward with the knight. The knight has some nice juicy squares.
Which square?
To the left.
To the
Everything
left.
you
own. So instead, Magnus drops his knight back. I think if he used the other knight, it would have blocked the protection of a pawn, potentially. So now he's dropping this knight back. He's aiming to centralize it again. He's bringing that knight, which was on the right, over to the other side of the board. Sometimes you've got to step back to go forward. You've got to retreat. And will Wesley take that retreat as a sign that he should push forward in the centre? Okay, he just improves his bishop first, eyeing up white's pawn on that left side. White's knight jumps forward. That knight is on its ideal square, protecting white's pawn over there. Wesley continues to harass white's pawns. And okay, Wesley finding a really nice way to try and eliminate the tension on that left side. Magnus, he's jumping with his knights. He's got some tricks in mind. That knight planning to jump into the centre of the board to eye up some of black's pawns.
Yes, there is a big trick in the position, right, David? If the bishop were to capture the pawn that's up for grabs, white wouldn't capture the bishop, but instead would also jump forward with their knight, probably the one that's on the right, jump forward into the centre, and suddenly you can see the construction would be very awkward for black to handle. And that's why Wesley says, nope, my bishop needs to keep an eye on that square, but Magnus does it anyway.
Yeah, so Magnus, he has started to up the pace over the last few moves. He's still down in almost a minute though. He's at 1 minute now, Magnus Carlsen. If the players get under 30 seconds, it's going to be chaos. It's going to be about who is the trickiest. Right now, White's knight jumping in, attacking supports. Black's queen shifts herself to the left side. Wesley plays solid chess. That black queen now doing a decent defensive job, but also Black's pieces starting to line up against White's pawn. It's all going to happen on that B line. That's where the tension lies right now.
Yeah, totally. It's a good strategical approach from Wesley. He says, yes, I have a bad pawn, but you also have one too. So as long as we keep attacking each other on our weak spots, there will be some kind of dynamic balance.
So maintaining the status quo, Magnus just brings his queen over to that left side. Again, eyeing up Black's weak spot on the C line. We do see bishop for knight trade. Magnus Carlsen, his clock usage has not been ideal in this game. It's not a great sign for the world champion. It shows he's still struggling to adjust. Okay, we see bishop for knight trade. White capturing with a pawn. That's a risky decision by Magnus Carlsen. He wants to play for the win here. If he captured with a knight earlier on, then White would have been completely safe, but a draw would have been likely. So White now has doubled pawns on the central line. This one, it could still go either way.
Yeah.
For sure.
Totally agree with you there, David. I mean, there's so much tension here in the position. As Wesley is just probably going to build up and keep maintaining his. But this was, I was wondering, but I didn't think it was possible.
Wow.
Breakout move, wow.
Yeah, Wesley calculating extremely well there. It looks like he did give up a pawn temporarily. Black's weak pawn has actually just dropped off the board, but the knights have disappeared at the same time. And
oh, look at Magnus. He realizes this is a blunder. What's happening?
wow,
Total
Magnus has
blunder.
blundered his queen. It took me a while to spot as well. That was visually very difficult to spot, but
Oh no, he is extremely angry. Is this lost now?
yeah, that's lost. And Magnus just didn't have enough time. That's an uncharacteristic blunder. He blundered his queen because he didn't keep the white king safe on the background. We'll show that later on. But right now, Black is up a queen for just a rook. Wesley So is about to guide this to a win. And Magnus, we saw it on his face, right? I mean, we never see him blunder like that.
No, but it was a very neat tactical shot. Didn't come naturally, and well, there you can see here, the world champion is just furious with himself. There's just nothing to do here. I mean, just one rook is totally insufficient against the black queen, and
Black queen passive for now, but over the next few moves, she's going to get active.
yeah, I mean,
She's going to overwhelm the white
there's a
rooks.
big threat right now that you can just take the pawn, and well, Wesley playing super safe, doesn't give Magnus any chances whatsoever, and there's nothing that the white rook can do.
Yeah, White's rooks are stuck passive defending one of their own pawns. Magnus, he's just going to hope that Wesley maybe panics under time pressure, but look at that, the queens are so versatile, so agile. Black's queen, she retreats, she steps back, she attacks a pawn in the middle, attacks a pawn in the centre, and Wesley can just take a pawn with his queen if he wants right now. No real risk in this position for Wesley, so this one it's almost game over, but the clock is the only thing that could turn this around for Magnus right now, retreating his rooks. And at least he has one pawn alive on that left side. Maybe in a dream world, Magnus can push that pawn forward and cause some nuisance.
But Wesley says no, he's going to go for the counter-attack, and yeah, I mean, what we're going to see now is the rook and the queen aligned together to create, and now you can just simply go rook takes pawn, or is that not working?
There are some tricks in the position. I think Wesley can just play rook takes pawn right now. Magnus, he's getting ready to resign. Wesley finishing this one off with a nice trick. And we'll just see a set of rook trades. Black will stop White's pawn. Magnus, he's getting ready to resign now. Black's queen stopping White's pawn. That's the last glimmer of hope. No more counterplay for White.
Is he just gonna let his time run out? Magnus Carlsen's so angry.
It's very difficult to pull the trigger and just say I'm going to resign, because